If you want to get good at drawing hands, you've come to the right place because I'll share with you some tips and tricks I've learned on how to draw simple yet effective hands. In this video, I will be giving some powerful tips, so listen closely and stay tuned until the end because I will give you a bonus tip on where you can find references for any hand gesture that you need. I remembered reading some drawing tutorials before where they use circles for drawing hands, and quite frankly, I would advise against that. The thing is, the circle is a vague shape to use for the hands, and it can get confusing because you still don't know how to place the fingers and hands. Instead, we'll be using a trapezoid shape and a capital D. In the previous video, I've discussed thoroughly how this works, so click the eye icon on the top of the screen to watch it. Trust me, it's very insightful. The gist of it is we use trapezoid for the palms and the D shape for the thumbs. Regardless of any angle we draw, we will adhere to this. Now, in order to draw any gestures you like, yes, even this, we have to focus on drawing them one finger at a time. Decide which finger will fold and which won't. The fastest way to do this is to use lines. You can draw a straight line or an angled line like this. I've also discussed this in the previous video, but you can get away with using 2 segments for the fingers rather than 3. Now, once you've drafted the fingers using the lines, you can flesh it out by using some sausage shapes. But before you do that, I would like to discuss with you something very important. You see, I've realized recently that our hands fold in this part of the palm rather than the first line in our finger. This is like the biggest misconception I've lived with my art career and why sometimes the hands we draw look awkward. So why is this important? Well, upon realizing this, I noticed that our fingers will tend to put the other when we stretch or pull them. For example, when we do this hand gesture, the middle and ring finger can't actually touch the center of the palms because the index and pinky finger, when stretched out like this, are pulling the middle and ring finger away from the palms. If we force it like this, it looks awkward and painful. The best way to figure out how each hand gesture works is by doing the gesture yourself and analyzing how each finger behaves. Moving on to the thumbs, compared to the fingers, our thumbs have a much bigger range of movement. As the thumb moves, this part of the palms moves along with it. Remember, this is the D-shaped part from earlier. Depending on where the thumb finger is positioned, the curved part of the D shape can be sharper or curvier. When the thumb is extended out like this, you will notice that the D shape look like this, whereas when you draw the thumb finger inward, the D shape will look like this. In order to position the thumbs, I usually use a small circle like this to indicate the knuckles. Since it's quite flexible, we can position it inward or outward. Okay, let's do a bit of foreshortening next. For this, we're going to draw the trapezoid in a more 3D shape. However, the top side is angled like this. Our palms isn't exactly perfectly straight, so we're gonna draw a curve like this. For the fingers, you can pretty much draw a slanted cylinder like this for the first segment. However, for the tip of the finger, we're gonna add a little bit of a flex. It does take some practice. To do this, draw a small circle, and then following the contour on the bottom part of the circle, draw a curvy sausage like this. Note that the top part of the circle is still peeking out. If you want the flex longer, simply draw the curvy sausage far from the circle and connect it with a curved line. Because the fingers tend to fan out, drawing it straight forward will look awkward. You can see here that the index finger is pointed slightly upward, but the rest of the fingers gradually point downward. For the thumb, we can still employ the D shape here. It's just that it's shorter due to foreshortening. We're also going to draw the flex here with the thumb slightly pointing downward. Let's add the details. Don't forget to add the knuckles here. There we go. Here's the finished drawing. If you're having a hard time visualizing the hands, the best you could do is to use references. Again, there is nothing wrong with using references. You don't even need to Google it. In fact, you have 2 perfect references right in front of you. Now, of course, getting your hands still while you draw can be tiring, and you can't really use your dominant hand since that's the one holding the pencil. So what you can do is get your smartphone and take a photo. I do this all the time. For difficult angles, the thing you can do is do the hand gesture in front of a mirror and take the photo of the mirror. When you need the hand on the opposite side, simply flip the image. Now that you know how to draw some hands, how about drawing the entire body? Well, it just so happens that I have the perfect video that will solve your problem. Click the video on the right to watch it.